Hello there, my very good friends, and a warm welcoming good afternoons to you all. On this video, we're going to talk about backstage chaos in WWE, thanks to you-know-who.
I'm going to talk about backstage reaction to the 2023 draft.
We got a last-minute WWE brand switch that you might have missed.
And a man has been sentenced to 15 years in prison for trying to kidnap WWE star Sonya Deville. I'm Adam Wilborn.
And I'm Andy Murray.
And this is the After News.
Let's kick things off by talking about some stuff from Dave Meltzer on Wrestling Observer Radio, talking about the backstage situation in WWE at the moment. And it's a familiar topic to anyone who's been following wrestling media for like the past 4 or 5 weeks.
4 years.
But it all goes hand in hand, really. We've got an increasingly chaotic vibe backstage. Basically, Dave noted that on Raw, Bianca Belair referred to herself as the SmackDown Women's Champion. And she's not that, she's the Raw Women's Champion, but she's gone to SmackDown. And then Rhea Ripley referred to herself as the SmackDown Women's Champion, which she actually is, but she's on Raw. This was cited as evidence or an example of people being told different things that change all the time. So clearly one of them was told to say one thing, the other said the other, and it contradicted.
They do a fucking belt swap, Andy.
Oh, well, I've got stuff on that. And while WWE isn't in complete chaos backstage, there is a lot of chaos right now, which goes hand in hand.
90% chaos.
Every single day after Raw, there's a report comes out saying, yeah, Vince changed a bunch of stuff. It fits up.
That wasn't 6 months ago, Andy.
No, and I wonder why that is. Now, there was some other stuff, like Brian Alvarez was talking about how like a belt swap would be hokey. And this is more opinion than report, so you don't really need to take it seriously. But Dave was like, well, Vince is writing it, so it's going to be hokey. Like, that's just how he writes wrestling. So you can agree with him on that. I personally, yes, I do, because I've been watching that man's product for 31 years.
God, yeah.
Obscene. But yeah, there you go. Sometimes it's good, but it's usually hokey. So, there you go. So, Vince obviously, it's a whole pile of stuff with him. He resigned in disgrace last July. He came back onto the board of directors in January when he wrote to the board saying that if you don't bring me back as executive chairman, I will not consent to a sale of the company, nor will I agree any new media rights deals. The board of directors said, hey, we don't think that's a good idea. He effectively, because he retained majority power to make these decisions, said, tough crap. Got rid of some directors who were not seemingly going to vote his way, brought a couple of his old stooges back in George Barrios and Michelle Wilson, who, by the way, he fired a few years ago.
Yep.
And he now, following the Endeavor purchase, has regained final creative say on everything in WWE. Triple H is still writing the shows. It seems Vince just comes along with a hatchet and then chops them up. So there you go. That's the situation. He has the power to do this. Chaos.
Yeah, it's just so depressingly familiar, isn't it?
Never ends.
Like, it's gonna be this way until he's no longer with us. That's it. We just have to learn to accept it or pray for another miracle.
Yeah.
He resigned in disgrace, Andy. And it's just a year has gone by and he's back with more power than ever. And anyone who sits there and says, come on, guys, Endeavor will see sense. No, they won't. They like him.
They love this. They didn't fire Dana White when he slapped his wife in public. They're not going to fire Vince McMahon for messing with someone's feud. Like, this guy paid tens of millions of dollars in non-disclosure agreements, for very severe allegations of sexual misconduct. And it's quite actually sad that the story often becomes, Vince ruined my storyline that I liked watching on TV. And not this guy who's been accused of these terrible things has just waltzed back in and is now just as powerful as ever. And richer than ever, by the way, because he's sold the company to Endeavor and retained this cushy job where he gets to look at all the stuff on the show and go, nah, don't like that. I'm going to change it.
And I know we can be negative ninnies sometimes, right? That's kind of the game you play when you do sort of content stuff on YouTube. It does do better than stuff that if you're just constantly positive. Simon Miller aside, obviously. But the show was vastly better.
Infinitely.
Without him there.
Yeah.
There were still problems. The women's division wasn't fixed by any stretch of the imagination. But Triple H, there was a light at the end of that tunnel and it just feels like it's been snuffed out. And I just feel so sorry for everyone backstage. And yeah, people like Bianca Belair, because they're just like, oh, really?
Yeah.
I mean, you read all that stuff about the writing.
lawsuit.
Oh, God.
Yeah. There's all kinds of stuff going on, and it's a complex situation. There's things that people will be happy about, which we'll just talk about in a second, actually. And then there's obviously stuff like this. So yeah, I mean, you just got to tell the truth about these situations. Like, it would be in bad faith of us to sit here and go and say anything other than pointing out the terrible stuff that this guy has been accused of, and the way he kind of finagled his way back in after trying to retire last year. You can't let him have that word, guys. He resigned in disgrace. Never in a million years would that man have stepped away if this stuff had not become public.
Exactly.
Let's stop fanning around. Let's stop talking about Vince McMahon really lightly. The guy's a disgrace. And here we are.
But there are some good things going on in WWE right now, because according to World Wrestling, Andy, everyone seems pretty happy with how the 2023 draft went down. Wrestlers are now looking forward to SummerSlam and looking forward to whatever's going to happen with the new World Heavyweight Championship. Of course, this was the first draft since 2021. No sort of ground-shaking moves. Quite a lot of NXT call-ups, obviously. But, you know, like Gunther's on Raw now, so that gives us a whole fresh round of matchups and what have you. Cody and Roman are separate for the time being, which muddies the water a little bit with him finishing the story. But, yeah, at least there is some sign of happiness backstage in WWE.
Yeah, it's the duality of life. You can be happy about one thing and sad or annoyed about another thing. People are complex. It's how it works. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like a major headline-making draft or anything like that, but it did leave both brands feeling suitably refreshed.
Yeah.
Which is good. Like, the influx of new people from NXT, it's like 17 or 16 people or something who've come up. And
I'm looking out for new guys, Apollo Crews and Jinder Mahal.
They're hot rookies on the scene. Yeah. And Veer's
I really like Apollo Crews, I know I said that.
Veer's been coming for a long time, and now he's ready to...
Not the only one.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, like, I was quite satisfied. Yeah. It sounds like people in the company were as well, so good.
You always left me feeling satisfied. That's what she said.
Okay, Michael Scott. Anyway, do you want to know about the draft move you might have missed last minute?
Go on.
It's the ring announcers.
Oh, I did see this.
So Samantha Irvin and Mike Rome have swapped brands. Samantha's moving to Raw. Mike Rome is going to SmackDown. This is good because Samantha's obviously having a bit of a moment at the moment.
Yeah, she's getting a lot of attention.
She's building loads of popularity for her like unique style of ring, and I can't replicate it. No. Why did I even try? But yeah, she's getting over, and a big part of that was the way she would announce Gunther and Imperium.
Don't let them hear you say that.
Yeah, you are inferior to. I don't know what you're inferior to. Me, I assume.
Yeah.
Idiot. I can do everything Fabian Eichner does. It's no problem. Giovanni Vinci. Yes, so like she can keep doing their entrance. That's good.
Yeah.
It's a minor change. I guess the biggest impact of this change is, hey, Mike Rome, you work Fridays instead of Mondays now. I don't imagine it makes much of a difference, but good.
Yeah, exactly. And it's nice to see people just acknowledging the talents that these people have.
I like it when like non-wrestler characters like get over. I think that's cool.
Yes.
Like when
without trying to make it about themselves.
Yeah, 100%. Like when Aubrey, that's the thing. Like when Aubrey Edwards does like she's very expressive in her refereeing, and people are, she's making it about herself. Nah, man, she's adding some little extra flavor to a role that could be the most boring thing in the world, but no, she has decided to go out of her way to make it a little bit more interesting, and that's what Samantha Irvin's doing.
Yeah, the one caveat I will give to this is at least it wasn't like when they were just like, surprise, Jim Ross, you're not on this show anymore.
Yeah.
So I hope they told,
that would be nice.
Samantha's booked off loads of like Mondays or whatever, and now she's like, we're doing what now?
Yeah. Oh no, I've got to cancel my holiday.
I've got long weekends booked in.
No. I booked a week off to celebrate the death of Henry Kissinger. Is he alive? I don't know. Where did that come from?
I genuinely have no idea. Right, let's get a bit serious now because we've got an important story to tell you about Sonya Deville and that case involving her attempted kidnapping. Because Philip Thomas, the suspect who was arrested with the intent to kidnap Sonya Deville, has been sentenced to 15 years in prison. He pled guilty to several charges, including attempted kidnapping, aggravated stalking, and armed burglary. As I said, sentenced to 15 years in prison, followed by 15 years of probation. You can read more about this online. It's incredibly harrowing. But then again, we knew this from the beginning, Andy.
Yeah, this, of course, was a horrible, horrible situation that is obviously had a detrimental impact on Sonya Deville's life and well-being. She was, of course, in the feud with Mandy at the time on television, and then this happened, and that inevitably takes an immense psychological toll. And it's no telling what kind of things that Sonya may have to live with, like internally, as a result of this horrible situation unfolding. So, it's a really difficult one to pick apart in general because of all the complications that come with it. But I'm glad like a degree of justice has been served.
Yes, that's the main thing.
I'm sure that, Sonya Deville sitting at home is not like celebrating like she's won the World Cup or anything like that. But at least it's a degree of bringing this thing to a resolution. And I hope that there are no like lingering effects for her, and I hope that she's doing well, of course. I like having her back on TV.
Yeah,
like,
fair play for how fast she came back.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I've always really enjoyed Sonya Deville on TV. Even when she was in NXT and she was doing, like, the MMA hybrid gimmick, I was like, there's something here. Like, there's a presence to this character. There's a legitimacy and everything else. And I just like having her on telly and stuff. So it's great that she's been able to resume her career and all that. Like, it's cool that they found, like, the authority figure role for her as well for a while, which I'd liked her a lot in as well. So, yeah, best wishes to her and everything. I think she's the most important person to talk about in this story for sure. And yeah, here we are.
Exactly. Hope she gets to continue doing what she loves, and like you say, some aspect of justice has been served.
Yeah,
at least.
just it's a really horrible story. It's scary to think like there's something like this can happen. It's scary to think as well how it might have been worse as well if you read the accounts of what happened. So
awful stuff.
Yeah, just a really rough one, but
right, let us know your thoughts in the comments section. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling, wherever you get your podcasts from, for daily wrestling podcasts. And send us your Twitter questions for tomorrow at WhatCulture WWE. Watch, they can follow both of us. You can follow Andy Murray at
Andy H Murray. The H stands for hey.
You can follow me on Twitter at Adam Wilborn. If you're wondering where the Twitter questions are, they're in this morning's news. Go and check that out right now. But for now, my thanks to Andy Murray. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you soon.